Like others, I've had some issues with my relatively new laminate floor opening at the end joints. Just a tiny gap. You can't see the gap now. I was able to close it with this device, and that's what I want to share with you today. A device, how to make a device that will close very difficult to close gaps. My gap wasn't very large. It was about, you could stick a fingernail in it, maybe a pencil lead width, but still it was very difficult to close. And I Googled on the issue, and I'd seen where some other people had some luck with a dual suction cup device, typically used to lift mirrors or panes of glass. And I bought one of those, and it just wouldn't grip the laminate plank tightly enough for me to exert any pull and close the gap. And I even bought a second one and cut up a piece of 2x4 so I could pound on them both at the same time in tandem, thinking I could double my grip that way, and that didn't work either. And as I was working with it and the suction kept breaking free every time I hit it with a hammer, with the rubber mallet, it occurred to me that the whole apparatus didn't behave much differently whether the suction was intact or whether the suction had broken free. And so I concluded that it was the friction of the suction cup on the floor more than the actual suction itself that was allowing me to exert what little pull I could exert. So I went looking for something that would provide a little more friction. And I stopped in at Harbor Freight the other morning and just browsing through their store looking for something, and I came across almost the exact thing I had in mind. And it was a self-adhesive safe step. Let me get that item number for you. I don't think you can probably see it on here, but item 98856, self-adhesive rubber safety mat with tread surface. And what it's for is it's got a backing on the back here. You peel off that backing, and then that's adhesive there, and you stick that down onto a here's the safety backing here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera lens before. And what that's for, you stick that onto a slippery stair step, and it sticks on, and then you walk on the tread surface without slipping. Anyway, it looked like just what I had in mind, and so I bought it $4, and I cut this 2x4 piece. I beveled the top and bottom of the board there so it would wrap around the front nicely. I wrapped it around the front because I didn't expect that adhesive would adhere well enough to the 2x4 to hold on to the 2x4 while exerting the kind of sideways pull I wanted to exert. So I wrapped it around the front, and I also attached some screws at the top to make sure that wouldn't pull loose, to do everything I could to keep the tread moving with the 2x4 and to keep the tread from being torn up. But before I attached that, I put on my pounding block. I put a bit of an angle there, so you're also, when you strike here with the rubber mallet, you're exerting some down force to increase your friction, as well as the sideways force to move your laminate plank. And put that on with 3 pretty long Torx head screws through the bottom before I attached the safety tread. So it's on really solid, and those Torx head screws you can get really tight, so that'll stand up to as hard as you have to pound. And anyway, the way this works, if you haven't seen it on the other videos with the dual suction cup devices, you just hold it down firmly with one hand, and then with your other hand you strike it here with the rubber mallet. And I can't show you that because that hand's holding the camera, but I didn't really want to anyway, because I don't want to pound on a laminate board that's already closed. And anyway, I had spent an hour or an hour and a half a couple of nights ago with that dual suction cup device, 2 dual suction cup devices, and wasn't able to close any gaps. And this device I was able to close. I had four gaps, and I was able to close them in just a few minutes, a couple of blows of the hammer each. Once I had the good grip with the floor, I didn't even have to hit it that hard. And what happens here is, as you close this gap, say, you're probably going to open up one back here. And so then you move back to this board and you close up that gap, and keep moving back till you get to the wall and close up the last one. Now, other people have talked about putting some glue in these gaps so that it won't open again. I think that's probably a good idea. In retrospect, I'd have probably done it on the end joints on install. I didn't do it this time just because I didn't know whether I was going to be able to close the gap. So if it happens again, now that I know I can close the gap, I'll put down some glue and then close it, and should make it a permanent fix. Anyway, it worked really well for me. It's available at Harbor Freight, pretty inexpensive, pretty easy to build, and it just provides a lot better friction adhesion to the friction really with the laminate board to allow you to exert a lot better pull than the suction cup device. So that's all I have. Good luck.